Some remarkable portraits come from the Mannerist style of the 16th century. This is a portrait of Eleonora with her son, painted by the Mannerist painter Bronzino. Rather than concentrating on the face of his sitter, which is rather pale and stone-like, Bronzino has lavished all his attention on her dress, which is very ornate, full of different kinds of motifs which were popular in the Renaissance period. The other portrait in the center is a self-portrait of the artist Parmigianino. Parmigianino has painted himself looking at a convex mirror, and in the spirit of the Mannerist style, there is a great deal of distortion which is visible. The face, and particularly the hand which comes into the foreground, is extremely distorted. The painting to the right is a portrait of Cardinal Fernando, painted by another very well-known master, El Greco. El Greco is known for his distortion, rather elongation of the figures. And this particular portrait which he has painted is extremely penetrating, extremely insightful. Moving on, let's go to the 17th century and see what Europe was like then. The 17th century in Europe produced a large number of artists who painted portraits, compositions and other themes. Portraiture as a genre was highly popular in 17th century Europe, as is evident from the works of masters such as Rubens, Rembrandt, Frans Hals, Velasquez and others. The 17th century European style, known as the Baroque style, is characterized by an exuberance, sensuous richness, drama and dynamism. The work represented here is Rubens' work. Peter Paul Rubens was a Flemish artist and a diplomat who was well known for his portraits as well as compositions. The one to the left is a self-portrait with his wife, Isabella Brandt. It shows the couple in an extremely rich setting, wearing rich costumes, and shows Rubens' painterly style. The other portrait to the right, also popularly called the felt hat, was a portrait of Helen's, Rubens' second wife's sister, Suzanne. Both these portraits show the masterly qualities of Rubens' work. From the Dutch country, one comes across a large number of portrait painters, particularly the works of Rembrandt are extremely well known. Rembrandt, also known as the master of chiaroscuro, has also painted a large number of portraits in his lifetime. Many of them are self-portraits which number to more than 40 and have been executed in various mediums such as drawing, etching, as well as painting. It almost traces the journey of the artist from his youth to his old age. Chiaroscuro, meaning light and shade, was a hallmark of Rembrandt's work, and his use of color to show the distinguishing golden light as a contrast to deep umber tones is very typical. The portraits seen here are two works painted in his youth. One is a drawing and the other is a etching. The other two portraits show Rembrandt again in his youth and one in his old age. As the age of Rembrandt advanced, his strokes became more choppy and the color was laid in impasto, in thick colors. Another type of portraiture was extremely popular in Holland, and this was the group portrait. Very often, people of social standing and eminence such as members of guilds, the militia company and others commissioned group portraits where about 7 to 8 people or even more were painted together by the artists. The portrait to the left is done by Rembrandt and it is a portrait of some eminent citizens of the city and is known as Syntax. The one to the right was painted by another Dutch artist, Frans Hals, and shows a group of women, elderly women, in an interior setting. Another type of portrait, the group portrait, made its appearance in the Netherlands in the 17th century. Government officials, members of guilds or militia companies commissioned such portraits which were painted on large canvases or panels. Here is one such portrait painted by Rembrandt, and the one to the right is by another well-known Dutch painter, Frans Hals. These group portraits were important visual records of the working of society. Another portrait by Frans Hals can be seen to the left, that of a gypsy girl painted in his characteristic brush strokes. The one to the right is an imaginary portrait painted by another Dutch master, Vermeer, who was known for painting Dutch interiors. This portrait shows the girl facing the onlooker, wearing an exquisitely painted blue turban, blue dress, and a pearl earring. Moving on to the works of another very important painter of the 17th century Baroque style, we come across the works of Diego Velázquez, the Spanish painter here. Velázquez was the painter in the court of Philip IV of Spain and has painted several portraits of the royalty. King Philip IV and his queen Mariana can be seen here. There is another portrait to the right which is extremely intriguing, the portrait of the dwarf Sebastian. The Spanish court had a practice of keeping dwarfs for entertainment, and many such portraits come from Spain. The 17th century Baroque style in sculpture is represented by the master Gian Lorenzo Bernini. Bernini was an active sculptor, architect and designer working in Rome, and these two portrait sculptures seen here show the Baroque quality of exuberance and drama. The neoclassical style, which emerged in the late 18th century in France, is seen in the works of two great masters, David and Ingres. David has painted several portraits of Napoleon Bonaparte, as is seen here. The work to the right is his self-portrait. The neoclassical style is characterized by a precision and clarity and was inspired by the ancient Greco-Roman style. Ingres' portraits are also important because he has painted several distinguished sitters in his lifetime with the same precision which was a typical characteristic of the neoclassical period. The Romantic movement, which also appeared in France in the late 18th century, gave emphasis to the expression of emotions and the individuality of the artist. An important painter of Romanticism is Francisco Goya, the Spanish painter. He has painted many portraits and compositions, and as a painter in the court of Charles IV, there are several portraits of the royalty. Here is a group portrait which shows all the members of the royal family, including the king and the queen. Goya's portraits are not flattering portraits. They try to penetrate, and extremely successfully they do so, the psyche of the nature of his sitter here. To the right is a self-portrait by Goya. A very important painter of the Romantic movement was the French painter Eugène Delacroix. Delacroix was a great colorist and an admirer of the works of the Baroque painter Rubens. Here are two portraits. The one to the left is a self-portrait of Delacroix, and the one to the right is a portrait of the famous violinist Paganini. These two portraits are characterized by free brushwork and expression of emotions. The 19th century in Europe saw the rise of many movements such as realism. Gustave Courbet, the French painter, was a realist, and the realists painted things as they saw around them. This particular portrait, a self-portrait of Courbet, is also titled The Desperate Man. It shows Courbet looking intently at the onlooker while tearing his hair. The work to the right is that of Henri Toulouse-Lautrec, the great French artist. Toulouse-Lautrec was a great draftsman, and he often painted the low life of Paris, such as dancers and prostitutes, etc. Here in this painting, he shows La Goulot, one of the performers, a dancer who performed at the Moulin Rouge, a cabaret.